Yo, welcome to another episode of Broken Plays. NBA Finals are here. Look at the picture on the screen. Boston Celtics versus the Dallas Mavericks. And this is hot today. This is hot today because Perry said that the Dallas Mavericks are going to win the championship, okay? So Perry is obviously rooting for Dallas. We have Jalon, a Boston Celtics fan. He's been saying, like, this is the Celtics year. He's been saying that. And now, these two teams are going head to head. And then we have Hatham. We got to figure out what Hatham is thinking.
What?
Where Hatham is leaning. So, yo, let's dive into it. Yo, Hatham, I'm going to start with you because we know Perry's going to talk about the Mavs. We know Jalon's going to talk about the Celtics. Where do you stand, Hatham?
When we were talking about Kyrie versus Evan, who's a better team? So he asked me, yo, who's gonna win it? And I was like, yo, I guess the Mavericks. So I'm on the Mavericks side right now.
All right, yo, thanks for reminding me. How are you feeling about the Mavericks and the Celtics going to head? And what are your predictions? Do you have a prediction of how many games it takes the Mavericks, since you said the Mavericks are going to win?
I think it's in six, Mavericks. I think not having Porzingis 100% is gonna affect them just because they don't have enough bigs. But also Lively is kind of injured too. But Jason Tatum's gonna have to be the best player on the court, which is very difficult, Joe, right?
The floor is yours, brother. It's not mine.
Hey, jeez,
Yeah.
yo, you know what, Jalon? Just for this one, I'm gonna let you go last. But yo, Perry, defend your Dallas Mavericks. Like, what do you like? What do you see? What are your predictions? Give it.
Honestly, what I have to say, and it's not because I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are gonna win. I just want to see a good series because, like, I was disappointed in the Minnesota and the Pacers matchups, like respectively, for the Celtics and the Mavs. At the end of the day, no matter how much I like a team, like I want to see a good series. Realistically, I have a question for Jalen before I answer the question. Is that cool, Jalen?
Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on Jaylen Brown winning Eastern Conference Player of the Eastern Conference MVP over Tatum? And what are your thoughts on Tatum so far?
Jaylen Brown winning Eastern Conference MVP. I don't know. I don't think it makes sense to some degree. I can understand it in a sense because he did have the 40 in game two. Hit that big shot in game one. The series might be different if we go down, we lose game one.
The block.
Yeah, his defensive ability throughout the entire playoffs has been exemplary. But to me, Tatum has led the Celtics all playoffs in points, rebounds, assists. I believe steals, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, every important statistical category. His playmaking has drastically improved, and I think is the biggest reason why the Celtics are back in the finals. He's now doing what he needs to do instead of doing sort of doing too much or too little. So I'll finish on this. I think that Jason Tatum should have been Eastern Conference Final MVP.
Okay, I thought that's where you were going. I was hoping that that's where you landed. Um, Realistically, this series I see it going to five without Porzingis. I think it's a sweep or a five. I don't think that they put up a better fight without Porzingis. I think Tatum and Brown are phenomenal. Actually, no, without Porzingis, I think the series with or without Porzingis, I think the series goes to seven.
That's a very big change.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm going to trust that Tatum and Brown are gonna do Tatum and Brown. Like I'm willing to trust that Tatum and Brown have taken that next step where they perform to their potential in the finals. And if Tatum plays the game I think he's going to bring, and if Jaylen Brown brings the game I know he's going to bring, I think this series goes to seven.
Jalon, the floor is yours.
It's Boston in five, with or without Porzingis. It doesn't matter. I think Boston have the defensive versatility to guard the Mavericks. and be effective in guarding the Mavericks. The problem with Minnesota was that they didn't have Anthony Edwards had to guard Kyrie Irving, which took away from his offensive sort of ability. He was gassed, as we saw in Game 1, Game 2, and subsequently Game 4 as well. Whereas Boston can just put Drew Holiday, and they don't need that as much offense from Drew Holiday as Minnesota needed from Anthony Edwards. I think Daniel Gafford will kind of be negated because Boston can play 5 out, so Daniel Gafford is going to have to be away from the rim a lot more than in the other series. As we saw with Rudy Gobert, he just hangs around the rim, which allows Daniel Gafford to be around the rim. Boston plays 5 out with Al Horford or Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis is questionable for Game 1, but probable for Game 2, and I think that's huge. I just think Boston has too much versatility. I think they're going to do a good job of taking away the others and stopping the others. So Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington, I think, will be negated. And I just think they have way more depth. I don't think Dallas has the depth to go toe to toe with Boston's depth. So I think it's Boston in 5. I'm going to give Kyrie and Luka, a game because I think they are more than good enough to steal a game, and it'll probably be on the road. So I think that Boston in 5. I don't think the series will be close, unfortunately, for Mavericks fans. But yeah, that's what we're going with.
Yo, so producer Eva, thank you for getting all these pictures ready. Can you put up the playoff bracket picture for us? So this is how we got here. Boston beat the Cavs in 5. They beat the Heat in 5. They swept Indiana. Here they are. The Dallas Mavericks won in 6 against the Clippers. They won in 6 against OKC, and they won in 5 versus the Timberwolves. Perry brought up a good point, and it's one thing that I do agree with. I was disappointed in the conference finals matchup with how easy Boston coasted and with how the Mavericks just blew Minnesota out the water. I was hoping for like a better series, and I was hoping it was more competitive, especially Minnesota, just because of who they beat to get there. I thought that they would have more in the tank, but Jalen, you did mention it, that defensively and the matchups, they didn't match up well against Dallas. And that's what I find about these playoffs is that like a lot of the matchups were determined who was going to move on. But in terms of the two teams that lost, Perry, what does Indiana and Minnesota have to do to get back there next year and maybe even get over that hump?
Whenever I ask myself these questions when these teams play and lose, I always think to myself, we have to ask ourselves one question, actually two. Do we give them more time? Is it a matter of time, or are we not good enough? I think with Indiana, it's hard to tell, but I love that is it Aaron Nembhard? I love seeing him step up, but I don't
Yeah,
think
Andrew Nembhard. He's Canadian too. Shout out.
I don't think you win with a backcourt of him and Tyrese Halliburton. But I do think he's a starting guard on another team. Like I think he's phenomenal. So I think the Pacers, if they're gonna keep the Tyrese Halliburton Nembhard duo, you need to I think improve at the 3. I know Benedict Mathurin was injured, but I look to add depth. I think surrounding Tyrese Halliburton with more reliable shooters and getting a scorer. I think they should trade for. Sorry, I think they should trade. They should look into getting a player like Klay Thompson. I think a player like Klay Thompson gives you the ability to run, gives you the ability to stretch the floor, also defense at a high level. So the Pacers, I think they need a few more pieces, and Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, the game of basketball is about matchups, but I just don't think they're enough. I think no matter how good Anthony Edwards is, we need we need kind of like more from that team. You need to figure out a way to perform when Karl Anthony Towns isn't shooting well. Because I think the difficulty in this is that we didn't see a true representation of their failure or shortcoming, if that makes sense. Like Karl Anthony Towns shooting 16.7%. I feel like regardless of anybody's thoughts on him and his game, that's an aberration. Can we agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we can agree that like we don't expect him to shoot 16% in a series, like average 16% in a series. From three, I don't expect him to shoot 4 for 32 in the course of like 5 games. So it's a hard one. I don't know. Like the Timberwolves, I think they need more scoring options. Like Ant is great, but I think you need more scoring options, and I think you need like to stock up on hybrid defenders, like a Draymond Green, Scottie Pippen type thing. I'm buying in on the MJ comparisons, and I think you need a more reliable, like you need a more reliable number two,
Haytham,
or Ant just needs to be consistent. Oh,
what
sorry, Cat just needs to be consistent, but I think they just need
Haytham, what
time.
does Minnesota and Indiana have to do?
Honestly, I think Minnesota's run is probably done for the time being just because of contracts. Karl Anthony Towns' supermax kicked in. He's going to be making 60 mil. Jaden McDaniels has a 60 mil one. I think he signed a supermax or the max and signed the max. So all these contracts are going to kick in. They're going to have to trade players. Teams like Memphis are going to come back stronger. They got a top 3 pick. The Kings didn't do so well. Do we really think the Golden State Warriors are not going to make the playoffs again? They're probably going to load up with someone, make a trade. The West is just so strong. And like, let's be realistic. Wemby, are we going to consider Wemby not to make the playoffs in the next 3 years or so and start being a contender? So for the West, I think it's a gauntlet, and I think this was a perfect opportunity for Minnesota to advance to the finals. They just ran into the wrong team. That's their kryptonite. For the Pacers, Kevin brought up a good part about Nembhard. I think Rick Carlisle is not the coach to have 2 dominant guards, as he's proven on Dallas when he had Jalen Brunson and Luka. He didn't really make any plays for Jalen Brunson. It was only when Luka went down that he started performing well. So I think they can maybe bring in, like, if you get rid of Nembhard and Pascal, I think Pascal's kind of reductant because he needs shooting, and try to get someone like maybe PG, bring back PG, just so you have a wing defender. Pascal goes somewhere else, and then you get kind of like a 3 and D kind of guy at the 4 position. Redundant. So yeah. So honestly, I have no idea. I don't think either one of them. Like the West was just super injured too. Like New York's injured, 76 is injured, Bucks injured, Heat is injured. So yeah.
The other thing that I want to say before Jaylon, you take the floor is what just quickly Perry and Haytham, and then Jaylon, just add this to your thing. What would it have been different if Benedict Mathurin didn't go down, and will he be like a big part of Indy going forward, or should Indiana look at getting rid of him as well as Nembhard? Because like I'm thinking about it, and like having Nembhard, Mathurin, and Halliburton, it seems like you have like kind of similar players. I know Mathurin's not the same as them, but I feel like you guys are right that I think maybe Nembhard for assets needs to go. And where does TJ McConnell fit in it when you think about that?
I want to say I don't know if like I don't think the difference in the series, like I don't think the Pacers, and no disrespect to any player, I don't think Benedict Mathurin is the player that's going to take down the Celtics. Like I don't think there's a difference between a sweep and a win. For the Celtics,
Yeah, okay.
I think it's tough because like those 3 players, I think Tyrese Halliburton would be your tallest one, and they would occupy your 1, 2, 3. And Tyrese Halliburton is 6'5", if I'm not mistaken. Benedict Mathurin is 6'4", and
Mm-hmm.
Nembhard is 6'3". I think that provides liabilities on the defensive end. I don't think, besides like Nembhard,
Mm-hmm.
that we have like enough consistency in terms of like the scoring to offset the liability it would have on defense, which is why I think you need to go either bigger with like functional role players. So like a Klay Thompson would be a perfect player to add. Um, Maybe like not a Paul George, but like a Paul George, if you get where I'm getting at with that one. It's just tougher. Like you need to get bigger
Mm-hmm.
at the guard, like at that 1, 2, 3. Like you need to get bigger if you're gonna keep a small guard. If you're gonna keep Nembhard, you need to get like a dynamic three. Kind of like how the Raptors had like Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, and then you had Kawhi and Pascal Siakam.
Mm-hmm.
I think realistically, this Pacers team, they're gonna be a problem.
What about you, Hatham?
Yeah, they just need to do something with their guard rotation. I think
Yep.
Nassir at this point is kind of like a sixth man,
Yep.
like in his role. But he is 21, so he is 3 years younger than both of those guys. But also, I feel that McConnell is perfect for their system. He just gives them hustle, grit. I think Rick Fowler just didn't play him enough down the stretches. Like, kind of rode with some guys that he should have just rode with the high hand. They got him in there. But yeah, I don't know if the Pacers will do it again. Because there's so many injuries going on.
All right, Jaylon. Indiana, Minnesota, what do they need to do to get back there, or is their timing up? Start with Minnesota because I know you're going to be a little more critical on them, in my opinion, of hearing you talk. If I'm wrong, start with the other team.
No, Minnesota, they have to move on from Rudy Gobert. He's proven once again in the playoffs that he's a defensive liability, and he's an even bigger offensive liability. To me, I saw a tweet that said, "What defensive player of the year isn't getting hunted by Luka and Kyrie Irving?" And off the top of my head, Kawhi Leonard, Draymond Green, Ben Wallace might be hunted. That's one that's iffy, but I don't want to see Ben Wallace anywhere near the rim. So like to me, it's you have to move on from Rudy Gobert. One for basketball purposes, but two the financial aspect of it as well. It frees up a little bit more cap space because you, like Hatham alluded to earlier, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and
Cat.
yeah, the fruity guy, Cat, are up to be paid. So you got to figure out, what's the best way to, keep this window. I think Hatham made a good point with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like all the other teams are going to be back and better. So I don't think the Lakers are going to be in this position again. I think the Lakers have some big moves to make in the summer in terms of upgrading the point guard position. But as well, I think the biggest move the Minnesota Timberwolves need to make, I think getting DeJounte Murray. I think getting a DeJounte Murray into the Minnesota Timberwolves adds that defensive grade. You add another guy who can guard at his position. It's an upgrade on Mike Conley because he can score the basketball a lot better, can shoot the basketball consistently. It's another scorer that gives Ant a little bit of a rest, so it alleviates the offensive sort of burden that's on Anthony Edwards. You don't have to worry about the consistency of Karl Anthony Towns now. And in moving on from Rudy Gobert, you allow Karl Anthony Towns to. My biggest thing with Cat and the Minnesota Timberwolves is that, to me, Karl Anthony Towns can't get a rhythm because Rudy Gobert is in the space that Karl Anthony Towns should be in. Yes, Karl Anthony Towns can stretch the floor. Yes, he's a great shooting big man, but all big men, they like to get their rhythm closer to the rim. So you want to see a couple layups go in. You want to back down your defender. You want to get into that sort of rhythm to be able to stretch the floor, right? So for me, it only makes sense to move on from Rudy Gobert. Bringing Mike Conley off the bench as well. He's getting older in age, so you want to kind of manage his minutes throughout the season. Yes, that's pretty much it with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I just think you got to move on from Rudy Gobert. The Pacers, however, I think the Pacers are in a very good position. I truly do. The only thing I would change is their coach. Rick Carlisle, I'm not sure why he hates winning, but it's almost like self-sabotage at this point. Like in game, I believe it was game 2, Pascal Siakam made it a 4-point game to start the fourth. All the momentum is in Indiana's favor. He benches Siakam, Miles Turner, and Andrew Nembhard for the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. Like, how does that make sense? It makes zero sense whatsoever. So I think you got to move on from Rick Carlisle. But in terms of the roster makeup, I think they're in a very good position. The only person I would look to move would be Pascal Siakam, because I do think you have to upgrade his position with somebody who can shoot the three a little bit better, who can stretch the floor a little bit better. Pascal Siakam was very functional in his role on this Indiana Pacers team, but I do think you have to upgrade. You have to upgrade from Pascal Siakam if you want to take that next step. Benedict Mathurin, I think, gives you at least a game. A healthy Tyrese Halliburton paired with Benedict Mathurin gives you at least a game, because he's a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, taller, can guard a little bit better. Now you can bring Aaron Nesmith off the bench to complement Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell a little bit better. It's less minutes for Ben Shepherd, who's a defensive fucking nightmare. He's a liability. But a player that I would look at personally, and he has had his injury problems, to upgrade the Pascal Siakam position would be Zach LaVine. I think Zach LaVine would pair very nicely with Tyrese Halliburton in the backcourt in that first three. The only problem is his availability, which I absolutely understand as being a red flag. But I'm a very firm believer in Zach LaVine and his ability and what he brings to the basketball court. He allows, now you have your bona fide scorer. You allow Tyrese Halliburton to do what he does best, which is kind of dictate the game, the tempo. You push Andrew Nembhard to the bench. Now him and TJ McConnell can go at the second unit of the opposing team, in which they'll have an absolute field day. Now you have you kind of balance out both lineups. So I think that's what the Pacers need to do. I think the Pacers are in a very, very good position. Upgrade your coach, upgrade Siakam.
So you guys all mentioned the backcourt when we were talking about the Pacers, about how their 1-2 situation right now is not good enough to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eva, can you pull up the picture? These two are being considered by some as the best backcourt in NBA history. Not just today's NBA, in NBA history. Haytham, is this the best backcourt in the NBA right now? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think it is the best.
Jalon, is this the best backcourt in today's NBA? Yes or no?
In the NBA right now, today.
Right now.
Yes.
Perry, yes or no? Best backcourt in the NBA right now?
Obviously, that's why I bet on them.
Okay, perfect. We're all on the same page there. Second question, yes or no? Haytham, is this the best backcourt in NBA history?
No.
Perry.
How are we defining best? Like skill-wise?
No, you can't do that. You just said
just yes or no.
You just answered
No, because
that question.
I'm happy. I'm happy. You're responding like that, Jen. Because I had across the board.
Give some context here.
This is Perry glazing Tyrese.
Ayo, leave that up. Leave Perry. Talk your shit. Talk your shit.
No, you can leave the photo.
Wait. Hold up, Perry. Let me actually ask Jalon, and then you can talk your shit. Jalon, quickly. Best backcourt in NBA history? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, Perry, talk your shit. Put back up the glazing picture.
Can I give them best backcourt right now? No. Realistically, like, they haven't won yet. And even one championship wouldn't put them as the best backcourt to me. I just think they're the most skilled backcourt I've ever seen.
Okay.
That's why I had to find it. Sorry. Let me add context. The reason why I had to ask you, like, how are we defining best, is that for the NBA right now, across the board, I have them as the best backcourt. Like, regardless of whatever criteria you have, to me, they're the best backcourt. Right now, I think they're the most skilled backcourt I've ever seen. Because you have two players who just, like, they just seem very, like, as though they just enjoy the game of basketball, if that makes sense. Like, the other backcourts I could think of, like, they were skilled, they were athletic, yes, but I just feel like Kyrie and Luka, they just look like they're having fun and playing horse.
Jalon, who is your best backcourt of all time, and where do these two rank?
So I'm gonna give you a top 10. Okay. I'll go from 10 to 1. Number 10, I have Jerry West and Bob Cousy.
Mm-hmm. You're bugging, bro.
I have Number 9, Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton. I think it's a severely underrated backcourt. 8, I have Luka and Kyrie. 7, I have Russell Westbrook and James Harden. 6, I have Magic Johnson and Byron Scott. 5th, I have Michael Jordan and Ron Harper. 4th, I have Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. 3rd, Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars. 2nd, Kobe and D. Fish. And 1st, in Clay.
Hatham, do you have a list?
I do not have a list, but I have a couple backcourts that I think are good. Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili is one of them, and Clay. But I like all the other ones. Bill named at the beginning, like Bob Cousy. How old are you?
Taking you're older.
I understand that, but like,
That's
what
the
I'm saying is,
point.
like,
No. But then your comment is negated. You're
but
older.
my thing is like,
No, that's the
if
point.
I told you right now,
You turned
that,
30 from time.
no, but my point is, you didn't see these play. So how are you gonna say they're better than Kyrie and like how are you gonna put them in your top 10?
Because they like, what does that mean? So Wilt can't be your top 10 players of all time because you didn't see him.
I didn't see play. It could be fake, bro. For all I know.
Yo!
That's just such a flawed logic, bro.
Bro, it was that same play, bro. They could have just given everything, whatever. It could have been like a whole season of highlights of one game.
Can I ask you a
Okay,
question, Jalen?
Yeah.
What is it about the Bob Cousy games that you grew up watching that like put them in this top 10 for you? Because this is wild.
Aren't you older than me too? Aren't you older than me too?
No,
What?
no, I'm not. You're older than me. That's first and foremost. Secondly, if I don't think you understand how little that question serves your argument. Because the thing is, if you're older than all of us, you would have more ground to stand on. If you're younger than me, that makes it even worse. So if you're younger than me, you weren't even alive when these guys retired, bro. You weren't even alive 20 years after they retired. I'm tired of basketball fans doing this.
If
This
you walked
actually
on the
bothers
street right now, you wouldn't know what Bob Cousy looks like.
bro.
And then you walk by you and you'd be
Like
like,
the man
He's
didn't
gonna
even
happen.
dribble behind his back in the day. They only dribbled with their left hand and there was no 3-point line. So how what is it about the games that you grew up watching with your pops that were putting there?
They went to 9 finals
Oh Mont, so how do you have Luka and Kyrie above them?
because I like them better.
I think Jalen's broken, bro.
I like them better, bro. What do you mean?
I think he's broken. Like, God, that makes no sense.
Okay, so time out. Can I ask you a question, Perry? You have Kevin Durant as the best basketball player ever. Why?
Yeah. Because I think
seen him
he's
play.
the most skilled. I've seen him play. I watched him play. All of those moments we talk about with KD, I lived it. No
Okay,
one on my top
perfect.
5
So
is
you
a
have
player
the-
no one in my top 5 is a player that I wasn't alive to appreciate their career in real time. You're putting Bob Cousy up there, bro.
Is Jordan
You've
not
never
in
seen
your,
Bob Cousy
not in your
play.
top 5?
No.
Is Jordan not in your top 5?
No, he can't be. I didn't grow up to watch
No.
him play.
What, bro?
I've never seen these moments live. Like, I didn't get to see the moments
This was from
live.
1967 to 1969.
Like, do you know how wild that is? Like, people had 2 jobs back in the day.
Your parents were just born J-Lo. These
Bro, Bino, can I
So
say something?
because
Can I say
just
something?
so I
Bino?
understand,
You're
because
about to understand.
that they were playing in 1950s and 1960s, I can't appreciate what they
Appreciate what?
did, which is go to 9 NBA finals
Bro, your top 10 makes no
as
sense.
a backcourt.
Your top 10 makes no sense. Like,
They
none.
went to 9 NBA finals as a backcourt.
I understand.
Okay, how about this? Can I put Chalmers and Dwayne Wade in there because they went to 4 finals?
If you want, I didn't say anything.
No, but
Yo,
I'm
it's your
saying,
list. You can do what you want, bro.
Oh my
the thing with
God.
other players on the team, Bob Cousy and all them, like, it's Joe Russell. Apparently,
Oh my
history
God.
that carried them, right?
Bro,
Oh my
they went to
God.
9 finals. Like it's because of
Oh
these.
my God.
What are we
Bob
doing
Cousy-
here?
Do you have Kobe in there?
This is wild.
Yes,
This
you
is-
second.
yeah, and Derek Fisher.
What?
And
Who's
Derek
second?
Fisher. Kobe and Derek Fisher,
You
bro.
have them second?
Yeah, Kobe and Derek Fisher.
Over
This is
20
wild.
seconds, Ginobili.
Yeah, I have Tony Parker 4th.
Yo, Bina, I think he's broken, bro. I think he's broken. Like, I actually think this is Jalen, like, malfunctioning. This makes Bob Cousy, man. Bob Cousy, like, it's literally no disrespect to him. Bob Cousy, if ever I have the privilege of you hearing this, I don't want you to think this is me thinking that your game is not something. But, like, bro, we didn't grow up to see you play. You're retired for more years than I've been alive.
Give us your top
Yeah, for real. Yo, Perry, I want to hear your list.
So we're backcourt is 1 and 2 or 1 and 3, 1 to 3.
No, 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
In J-Lo's case, it could be anything, bro.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No, but Jalen stuck to position. He stuck to position.
I know, I'm playing, Jill. I'm playing. Don't roll your eyes.
Yeah.
No, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. Do you?
Jeez.
Did you see your mother go to school? But she told you she went to school, so how do you know? You guys are fucking stupid, bro.
No, did you watch?
You guys are so dumb. Your mother tells you, hey, I went to high school. How do you know? You didn't see her go to high school?
Jill, did you watch that? Was you having?
No.
Is this going on Bob?
I'm going based off of Jerry West. The backcourt was Jerry West and Bob Cousy. So based off of Jerry West, it's mostly because of Jerry West. I have to go with Jerry West and Bob Cousy.
Jerry
West
West
was
was
on the list of the most
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. They never played on the same team, bro. You see,
the same thing.
this is how
Hey,
I know
I'm
you're
not
making
gonna
stuff
hold
up.
you. It's
No.
Gail Goodrich I'm thinking of. My fault, gang. My fault. That one's on me. It's Gail Goodrich. That one's on me. That one's on me. Is that his name? Gail Goodrich. Yeah, my fault. Hey,
You can say the names at this point, bro.
I'm gonna hold it up. I'm gonna hold it up.
Like, wait,
I'ma hold it up.
On like 10 acres.
I'm gonna hold it up. This one's on me. Yeah. You're right.
Yo, do you want to
You're right.
revisit
Good
your
looks.
list, bro? Do you want to revisit your list?
Yeah. Nah. I'm gonna stay 10 toes.
Bro,
No, Perry. We need your list. Stop stalling, dog. We need your list.
Gonna listen to Kyrie, James Harden, Kyrie, Luka.
how'd you know? So, I have James Harden and Kyrie.
Yo, glazing pick.
Yo, play the
Yo, we have to. Okay, yeah. So let's see how many times he says Kyrie still.
Wait.
Time out.
You have James Harden and Kyrie?
on
Yeah.
the net.
Like,
Wait,
is that,
wait,
is that,
Dylan, let him
what
finish,
number
let
is
him
that?
finish
What number
first.
is that?
They played 33 games together.
I don't have this is no order whatsoever.
So this is just off the dome. No order, no 1 to 5 or 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, Kyrie and Harden.
No. So here's the thing. If you're gonna put the glazing picture up, I'm okay with it. But you have to tell me why. Because this man said Gail Goodrich and Jerry West. After saying Bob Cousy, it's cool. At the end of the day, they hated on Jesus. So I have James Harden and Kyrie. I have Kyrie and J.R. Smith. I have Kyrie and Luka.
Yo, bro, you asked us why we put up the pick, and then you just did the bit.
No, Perry, give us your actual list.
Yo, give us your actual list, dog.
Okay, I have.
No, that's not the list.
No. I was actually trying to give you guys a hard time. I have James Harden and Kyrie. No, I can't put them there. So I have. Actually, no. I have James Harden and Kyrie. I have Kyrie and Luka. I have Booker and CP.
Who?
What?
I have Booker and CP. Booker and CP. I have Steph and Clay.
No money?
I
And Tony?
have
He
Manu
didn't
and
see them.
Tony.
He didn't see them.
I did see them actually. I have Manu and Tony.
Ray Allen and Rondo.
I don't really. No, I'm not gonna put that one there. I kind of like Derek White and Drew Holiday.
Yo, we're done. Yo, we're done with this topic. Holy shit. Oh my
What
god.
about
No.
Republican?
I didn't watch them. It was 2004. I wasn't really watching at that time. Like I see
You
true
don't
to
have Kobe, you don't have Kobe and Derek Fisher? Kobe, Derek Fisher?
no, bro. I don't have them as the best basketball. Like, I personally think the Kobe Derek
Yo.
Fisher one is a no for me.
Yo, okay, so we're moving
No,
on from backcourt
Vina,
because
no, we're not moving
this shit
on.
going off the rail.
You need to sleep with your chest. Why are you laughing?
Yo, no,
Who?
I'm sorry, I
Vina.
can't take you. The Derek White, Drew Holiday one. Yo, bro, I can't take you serious. I'm sorry.
So who's your like? You name me your backcourt.
Yeah, I'm going off the top of my head. You're gonna go Steph and Clay for sure.
Mhm.
I do like the Derek Fisher and Kobe. They won some championships together. So I do really like that backcourt.
I have Derek
Now
White
I
and
would
Drew
not put
Holiday.
Derek White and Drew Holiday.
Let me say something. Derek White and Drew Holiday at their primes versus Bob Cousy, Jerry West, and Joe Goodrich in their primes, I expect them to win.
Is Middleton and Holiday considered one?
No, Middleton's a
3.
small forward.
Who's the two on
Honestly,
that team?
Pat Connaughton.
based off how much of this I've seen, I would personally take Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan over Drew Holiday and Derek White. It might be a
DeMar
hot take
DeRozan
to
was a
you guys,
three.
but I've seen more. I've
DeMar
seen more
DeRozan was
from
a
those
three.
two.
DeMar DeRozan
What?
was a three.
No, DeMar
No, he
DeRozan
was a
was
two.
pretty good.
He was a two. He was a two.
What's his name? What's the guy with the braids? He's a Lakers.
DeMar Carroll.
Carroll,
Yeah.
DeMar Carroll.
Yeah, no, I would honestly take them over Drew Holiday and Derek White right now.
That's fair.
Based off production, those brothers were in the East grinding it out.
That's fair.
They didn't make it to the finals together,
Who?
but like I would take them over the Derek White and Drew Holiday. That's just me.
That's
Super teams. Thank you, Eva, for getting this picture up. How many super teams do you guys think are in the league right now? Top of your head.
How do we define a super team?
How would you define a super team?
If I were to go with the media's definition, it would be I take like 3 players of max contract value and I try to lump them in the same team.
Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, is that a super team?
That would be, from my understanding of the definition, yeah, it would be like a big 3 that wasn't like homegrown.
Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden, is that a super team?
Yeah, like I would define it as a super team.
Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, is that a super team?
No.
Jaylon,
Yes.
hate them.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question to you guys: the teams that I just named are 3 of the teams that people thought would go further in the NBA playoffs. Bucks, first round, got out. Giannis was injured. Okay. Clippers, Kawhi Leonard wasn't really healthy, but they still got knocked out. And then the Suns got swept. Are super teams over based off what we're seeing? Do we consider the Mavs and the Celtics as super teams?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
So
What,
what's our definition of a super
Jaylon,
team?
which? Wait, I just want to clarify something very quickly. Jaylon, what? Both teams are super teams?
Yes.
One.
Okay, hate them. Both teams are super teams.
I only consider one a super team. I think the Celtics.
The Celtics, because of the addition of Drew Holiday and KP.
Yeah, they had 2 superstars and then they got 2 other. Or
Perry, so you say none of them are super teams?
Like, I don't know why I would have the Celtics as a super team, because the 2 superstars they had were homegrown. They added Porzingis, which was a player who that wasn't really wanted in his past situations. Like on the Mavs, he wasn't really wanted. He wanted out of the Knicks, and I believe it was Washington and then the Celtics.
Can I ask you a question, Perry?
Yeah.
Was the Golden State Warriors a super team? They had 3 homegrown players and they just added KD.
KD was wanted though. He's saying KP was not
No,
wanted.
no, but
I'm happy you said that. No, I'm happy you said
He
that.
said it was homegrown, right?
I'm happy you said that. They are considered a super team because the player they got is better than the best player they had. It's not like the Bucks came through and got LeBron. Like if the Bucks came through, got LeBron or like a Luka, okay, you're a super team. Why? Because now you have Giannis, LeBron, Luka, like whatever. The Bucks are a
The homegrown
homegrown
doesn't
team.
really matter, is my point.
No, it does, because if I have a homegrown team and I just add like a 1-2 piece like the Mavs, I wouldn't really consider them a super team. Like, bro, nobody wanted Kyrie.
I just thought of one team that many people don't talk about, super team. When the Raptors won the championship, was that a super team?
No,
With
No.
just the addition.
No.
no.
Okay, so my question to you guys: are super teams dead? To me, I think super teams are dead because of all the super teams that didn't make it. And I'm on the fence about calling Boston a super team, and I don't really know if I consider Dallas a super team. So I think super teams are dead. And with what I saw from Indiana going to the conference finals and what I saw from Minnesota going to the conference finals, I'm also like, okay, are super teams kind of dead? Last year, Denver won the championship. I don't think Denver's a super team. So that's why my question is, in your opinion, are super teams dead or still alive? So, Jaylon, I'll start with you. Since you think both teams are super teams dead or alive, and why?
I don't think super teams are dead. I just think that it's a lot easier to be a super team, if that makes sense. I'm not even sure how I can correctly explain what I mean by that, but I just think that every team now is going to have two superstars or two max contract players that they're paying. They consider, their franchise player or whatever the case may be. And I think that the league is in a position where like everybody can be beat. So super teams, to me, what I see is like the unbeatable teams. So like Boston seemed unbeatable. The Golden State Warriors, they seemed unbeatable. Even LeBron's team, as much as Hayden doesn't want to say that they weren't a super team, they were a super team because they had LeBron, they had Kyrie, Cleveland.
Oh.
They had LeBron, they had Kyrie, they had Kevin Love. Like that was a super team, right? I think a lot more goes into it other than just being, okay, three max contract players, homegrown, signing this, signing that. I think also your record, sort of the aura that you carry in terms of, okay, the hold that LeBron had over Toronto and that franchise, that's a super team. The fact that every year Cleveland was walking through the East when Kyrie and LeBron were together, that to me is a super team. So I don't think super teams are dead. I think they've sort of evolved in a sense. That's the word I'm looking for. They sort of evolved.
I understand where you're coming from. I don't fully disagree. But would you agree with me if I said that I believe that in your definition of what you called super teams, that they're more beatable than before? Maybe not necessarily dead, but more beatable. Like teams like the Knicks can beat these super teams. The Knicks are not a super team, but they have that grittiness that they could beat a super team. Indiana built that way as well.
Yeah, well, I consider to allude to that point. Like I consider Boston a super team. I've considered them a super team for the last few years, and the fact that Miami, who really aren't a super team, they're actually the opposite of a super team, were able to beat them in 7, and then get to the NBA Finals. Like that's what I mean. Like anybody can get got. So I can understand why people would say the era of super teams is dead, but on the flip side, I think it's more evolved more than anything.
Would you consider the Oklahoma City Thunder a super team?
No.
I don't consider them a super team yet, but I think that they will get to that level if they're able to keep those pieces together.
Can I ask you? I know you already
What about
answered
you?
it, so I want to apologize. But I want to apologize in advance. But can you repeat your definition of a super team, just so I can have some sort of clarity and closure?
Well, what I said is I think super teams that there are multiple facets and factors that go into super teams. So I don't think it's just the 3 max contracts. I don't think it's just the roster makeup and how you built the roster. I think it also has to do with your success on the court, how beatable you are, how dominant you are in your division, in your conference, and in the league as well.
Okay, so I want to make this a discussion. The beef I have with the term super team is that I think it diminishes the value of a championship, right? So to call Boston Celtics a super team, like when I think of a super team, it's like a GM looks at or like whatever it is in free agency, and he's like, let me compile this so I can win a championship within the next 2 years. But I don't think that was the case with the Celtics.
But Perry, okay, so are you diminishing that one Golden State championship that they won with Kevin Durant?
Yeah, I think this is cheat code. Like I'm not going to say it's worth less than a championship. I'm not going to say it's worth less than a championship.
Are you diminishing?
But I'm going to say that like I don't look at KD and think to myself like, oh wow, you completely move the needle. Like it's not like a Dirk Nowitzki championship.
LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. Are you diminishing those championships?
I consider them a super team, but I think I consider them a super team, but I can't diminish the championship because they had to be other super teams. So like the Celtics that they had before, like they had to, you know what I'm saying? Like they teamed up to beat them. But it doubled the value of Dirk Nowitzki's championship. You know what I'm saying?
But in that definition, and everyone else, correct me if I'm wrong, Golden State did the same thing to beat LeBron. They got Kevin Durant so that they could beat LeBron. So therefore, they built a team to beat another super team.
And now when we look at LeBron's legacy and we consider those losses that he took to Golden State with Kevin Durant on them, are we looking at it thinking he could have done more, or are we like, oh, halas, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the series was over before it started. You get what I'm saying? If LeBron won a championship against Kevin Durant, he'd be the undisputable greatest player of all time. Not because it's Durant, but because that team was a super team. It was a team that like you had a formula, you plugged the best thing you could plug into that system. A super team, like yeah. So I don't know. Like when you saw LeBron lose to Golden State, Bina, this question is going to you. Did you feel like, oh, like, did you think less of LeBron as a basketball player?
No. How are you
You
supposed
didn't.
to be that Golden State team with
Thank
Kevin
you.
Durant?
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did the media look at him differently?
Kinda. Yeah.
After losing to Golden State? Like, in a good way or bad way, sorry?
In a bad way, they bring up his 6 losses, and there were 3 of
No,
them
no,
to the
no, no, no,
Golden State
no.
Warriors.
Like, I mean, like, when we talk about that Golden State series, not like the overall career of LeBron, because obviously we're going to look at the finals and be like, okay, this is a glaring sore thumb or whatever.
No.
But I'm
In
saying
that series
in that
alone, they were
series,
more talking about how Kevin Durant joined an already like finals bound Golden State team. That Golden State team without Kevin Durant was going to the finals already. Let's
thank
just
you.
put that out there. That Golden State team was that good.
And
They
and
did
that's
not need Kevin Durant.
they
Yeah,
didn't
they
look
did.
at LeBron.
Against Houston Rockets.
I believe they did, Bina. I'm not gonna let you like go off like that. I think they did. But now my next question: when LeBron lost to the Dallas Mavericks, were people looking at him differently?
Yes.
Well,
Thank
yes,
you,
because
thank you. And
because
that's because
he joined that team
the Mavericks weren't a
to
super
win.
team. But the Dallas Mavericks weren't a super team. The Dallas Mavericks were David in this David and Goliath story. LeBron went to Goliath. LeBron like the Miami Heat was Goliath, and Dirk Nowitzki was David. Dirk Nowitzki shot the rock that killed them. That's why we look at LeBron differently, like off that series. Now, if you look at the two and you juxtapose them, there's no way you're going to tell me that Dirk Nowitzki's championship was equally as valuable as Kevin Durant's too.
Before we move on, Yo Hatem, I need you to answer: are super teams dead, alive, still around? What's your take on the makeup of super teams?
I think super teams are alive, but I think they're different now. They're not self-made player super teams that can be constructed anymore. It's more the GMs need to construct a team, draft properly, figure out talent, and then pay your superstars, but then also get the proper stars that you can pay later on when their contracts come up. So that technically will be a super team. Like, look at Boston. They drafted all their players. They're able to pay all their players, but they're all able to add additions to that team. So I think star-driven super teams are dead, but I think the best GMs in the league will still be able to make super teams. So I do think they're still alive, if that makes any sense. I just don't think like players like LeBron going to Team USA and being like, yo, Dwayne Wade, join me, Bosh, join me, will win a championship. Those ones are dead because of rosters. You can't fill the rosters. You have to fill them with minimum players.
I do
But
agree with that.
if it's grown by the GM, he can have two All-Stars, 3 All-Stars, but then he's adding in additional like good talent to the draft, and then he can pay them. So like look at Jaden McDaniels. They wouldn't be able to get Jaden McDaniels into free agency. Rudy Gobert is another one, even though Rudy Gobert didn't pan out. But if they had gotten someone better than Rudy Gobert, and they had paid him the max, then they would have had a super team, right? So that's just my take on it.
Phenomenal
So
definition. Phenomenal.
when we watch basketball, I know a lot of us, probably all of us, probably everyone, has watched Inside the NBA, and there are rumors going around, and they're kind of sad that Inside the NBA could lose their show because of the NBA rights that are getting moved around to different streaming services. So TNT might lose the NBA deal.
Was it not announced, or is it just a rumor right now?
No, it's announced that the deal's going, like the deal's going down, but it's not like no one has officially said that NBA Inside the NBA is gone. If I'm not mistaken, I know I know Charles is like going on a tour talking about how this is probably their last season, but I don't think we know the full scope of it yet. But my question to you guys, what is your favorite Inside the NBA moment? Jalen, let's start with you.
Moving down them churros. The big old women in San Antonio.
Yeah, keep my name out of this. I'm not part of this, bro.
That's by far my favorite. By far.
Yeah, that was short and sweet. Yo, Hatham, what's your favorite moment?
My favorite moment, it's not even close, is when Charles Barkley talked about the shower thing when he got a bracelet from a random man in a sauna or shower, and he told the story. And then he shouts out the guy. He's like, "Yo, whatever your name is, thanks for the bracelet." And he's like, "Yo, my G, come on."
Yo, Perry, what's your favorite inside the NBA moment?
There was an All-Star draft, and Kevin Durant was a captain, and LeBron was a captain, and they wanted Kevin Durant to choose James Harden right after James Harden made the trade to Philly.
Oh yeah,
I
that
could
was
not
funny,
stop.
bro.
I
Yo, that
could
was
not
funny.
stop
That was
crying.
mad funny.
I remember they were like, "Isn't he injured?" And Charles was like, "Nah, he got traded." And I remember just dying. So yeah, no, they really made watching the NBA fun. Like they brought like a nice little like comedy to the thing, and like the Charles no championships. And I remember they had like a little party, and Charles like
Mm.
went to the door and it was locked, and they're like, "You have to be a champion to open this door." I cried. Like these guys are actually
Yeah,
so funny. Charles actually cemented
real.
himself. Like I think he could have a career in comedy. His beef with players. I don't like DeMarcus Cousins because he doesn't love me. And my mom always told me not to love someone who doesn't love you back. I screamed. I screamed. I love that group.
Yo, yeah, I love that group. Jalen knows this. Ever since I got into this business, I've been like Ernie Johnson's been my guy. I have so many moments like Shaqtin' a Fool. That shit just kept getting more ridiculous. Love that. Yo, when Shaq gets mad when talking about how he got snubbed for awards, bruh, the salt in Shaq's like face, priceless. And it's also like I like how Chuck tries to bring in other sports. I saw like the other day he got a Leon Draisaitl Edmonton Oilers jersey. I don't know if you saw that. And like yo, he was like freaking out, like starstruck kind of thing, because like he's a big hockey fan. I just love how they brought like a different way of watching basketball, and that's what you're saying, Perry. Like it's gonna be sad when they leave, but like at the same time, I don't know if they work on a different network. You know what I'm saying? Like
They're
Inside the
definitely
NBA
keeping
is
them
that
together.
TNT show.
The band is getting is staying together.
Yeah, they better do something, even a
Yeah,
podcast. Like I know
they're not
nothing
breaking
would
up that
listen.
band. I think they'll be more relevant than that.
Would you guys
Who's
want
it?
them to bring back Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy sideline instead of Doris Burke and Lord knows who?
I want Mark Jackson coaching.
Facts.
Well, that's never gonna happen. He's got blackballed, bro.
No, I
He
do
got,
like Doris Burke.
he got
I'm just
white
trying to
balled.
think who's gonna replace JJ.
Yo, JJ Redick to like the Lakers. They're saying they think he has Pat Riley potential.
I don't know if I see that though.
Next week on Broken Plays.
Yeah. Next week on Broken Plays. That's what we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna dive into that power forward conversation. We're going to talk about JJ Redick coaching career, and we're going to see if Perry is still glazing